Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episode from our newest Ashland Chamber project, The Language of Business, Building Your Business Financial Toolkit. In this first episode, you will learn about the building blocks of business language and why knowing certain business terminology is the first step to your business success. So, let's get started.
I like to compare it to going to the doctor and having a checkup. The doctor conducts a series of tests that tell you how you're doing as a body. Well, financial statements serve the same purpose for businesses.
It's important for businesses, I think, to be aware of some of these basic financial statements because in the end, they help you run your business. And they help you have a successful, long-lasting business. I feel like so many of us would just love to throw up a lemonade stand and make a whole lot of sales, but if you want that lemonade stand to last a long time, you have to be aware of just some of the basic ways that the money is working in your business.
The purpose of a balance sheet is basically the net worth of a business. We all have a statement of net worth. It's what we own, what we owe for what we own, we think we own, and what our claim to what our assets are. So the balance sheet reflects that. The basic balance sheet equation is assets equal liabilities plus owner's equity. So liabilities are monies that you owe people. Owner's equity is the money that the owner has claim to. Those two equal the assets of the business. A balance sheet is intended to reflect that, to create that narrative for third-party users, bankers, people that might loan you money, and for the business itself. How healthy is the business? An income statement is a reflection of operations, what you do to make money. You can think of it as a small business if you were to think of it as your paycheck or not. Right? I mean, it's the bottom line, whether it's a positive number or a negative number, is everything. Every business goes through seasons, and every business therefore has to manage to that bottom line. And so basically, an income statement provides a picture of revenues, and then from revenues on down through cost of goods sold and gross profit, which most small businesses are tracking. So the margins down at the operating income end of an operating statement, a profit and loss statement, can be very small and have to be very tightly managed and controlled and identified. A cash flow statement will have on it income or loss from operations, money that came in by way of borrowing, financing, and money that might have been invested in you by somebody who maybe purchased an ownership percentage. So when people are looking to loan businesses, small businesses, businesses of any size, money, they look to the cash flow statement. They want to know where you got your cash flow from. Of course, they want to see that you have a positive relationship with operating funds. They want to see that you're making enough money to be able to pay for the money that you might borrow. And the investor is going to look to the cash flow statement to see if you have the wherewithal to make their investment meet its return on investment. I tell my students, I ask them the question, what is the most important of the four financial statements? I would suggest the statement of owner's equity is the most important of all the financial statements because it's the first statement the owner is going to go to. Right? It will tell them, it looks like your bank account basically. It starts with a beginning balance, whatever your owner's equity was at the end of last period. It'll add whatever income came in, and it'll subtract whatever you took out, and it'll give you a balance at the end. It basically looks just like your bank statement. And so this just recaps everything and tells you in a very quick fashion whether you're rising or you're falling.
So when we first started the business, we just needed to know some of the basic building blocks of how you get going, how you just operate on a daily basis. And that was wonderful. That's what we needed to know. But then when we expanded our business to have a second location that was much bigger, the bank required us to give them financial statements in order to get a loan and give them our financial plan. And I was so grateful for that process because I then learned what those important tools are in managing your business. And now I use those every day. And I feel like that enabled us to operate on a much higher and larger scale.
Well, I think why this is important is in operating a business, you want to set things up to where you're brilliant with the basics, is what I call it, where you're able to identify what's going right and do more of that, and what's going wrong and fix that.
If there's one piece of advice I would give to any business right now, it's don't be afraid to look at your numbers. It can be really intimidating, I think, and it still is for me because there's so much to learn still for me. But to be able to look at your numbers in one place, bring them all together, it gives you so much clarity what's happening in your business, and it really helps you move to that next level.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Language of Business. We at the Ashland Chamber of Commerce want to connect with you, to support you, and help you grow in our thriving business community. So please, click on the link below and leave us some feedback. Are there other topics you would like to see addressed? Let us know. Please be sure to stay tuned for the next episode of The Language of Business. We'll see you next time.